in his advocacy. Of course, he was a Black Lives Matter advocate because he came up through the civil rights movement. Um, but here, there's some simple things that you might take for granted today weren't so easily available to us back in the day. For instance, the championship high school, college, pro teams that you root for on a daily basis or weekly basis. Because of his advocacy, that was made possible. The uh, choice that your youth has or your children has, or the choice that you had to go to whatever college or high school you chose to go to, because of his advocacy, was made possible. The ability to go and sit at a pizza restaurant with your friends of another nationality and enjoy yourself because of his advocacy. So it behooves me to not understand, or let me say it's 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 it befuddles me, is what I should have said, that people don't understand that Black Lives Matter and its fight for human rights, because basically that's what it is, a fight for human rights, will benefit all nationalities. I have Mexican friends who have called me a racist because I stand behind Black Lives Matter and they want to say all lives matter. I have tried to explain to them that it's human rights violation, how to benefit everybody if everybody got behind it. But they stick with the Black Lives Matter, or they say police kill more white people, or they say police kill Mexicans and they kill Asians, and they. But my response to them was this: if Mexican lives matter, where are your Mexican lives banners? Where are your Mexican lives protests? If white lives matter, where are your white lives banners? Where are your white lives protests? If Asian lives matter, where are your Asian lives banners and your Asian lives protests? Because if that's true, if what you're saying is true, you should have been advocating for this for a long time. But when black people stand up and say, hey, it's an issue, then everybody has an issue with Black Lives Matter. But it will benefit all of society, is what they don't understand. Just like the civil rights movement, which John Lewis was a part of, and people died for and suffered, and it has benefited all of society. So why are we so hesitant now to accept Black Lives Matter when we know that the police uh, uh, treatment of black people in this country has been has been needed to be dealt with for a long time. So I say to Representative John Lewis, rest in peace, my brother. Rest in peace. And the saddest part about it is the benefits that we have gained from the civil rights movement. And all our president can do is fly the flag at half staff for one half of a day. Absolutely incredible. Such an affront to people who gave their lives, fought for civil rights, fought for the thing that we have commercials on TV that says we send our soldiers to fight tyranny and oppression all over the world, but we don't have them here in America fighting against tyranny and oppression. Sad. As a matter of fact, that leads right into the Portland protests, such a segue to the Portland protests. Our president is willing to send in our military to fight citizens in this country when we have those commercials on TV that says we fight tyranny and oppression all over the world. Isn't that not tyranny? Isn't that not oppression? To try to stomp out the civil rights, the constitutional rights to protest. Certainly, there are those who are there to riot, but do you quench a riot by force? Do you quench a riot with more violence? That just befuddles me. This president of ours has mismanaged not only COVID-19 by his late start, his continuing to fobble the ball, or bobble the ball, or fumble the ball, his attempts to pass the buck on everything that happens. Let me put it to you this way: to govern means to manage. This is what he's doing. If there's a house in a neighborhood that's on fire and the fire department is called and they come out to supposedly quench the fire, put the fire out. But when they come out, they proceed to bomb every house on the block. Just blow up the whole neighborhood. Don't tell anybody what's happening or nothing. Just blow up everything. That's mismanagement. That's mismanagement in the sense that you send in the military or you send in all these special agents or whatever it is you're doing, you call yourself doing. It brings more tyranny and oppression to the neighborhood. Now get this. What happens behind that is people who were peacefully protesting, who never had any beef with the police or anything like that, now they have a beef with the police. Now they have a beef with the police. So you have escalated the situation as opposed to de-escalating the situation. You bomb all the houses in the neighborhood, killing and injuring and whatever collateral damage is, it's there. But you're not concerned about collateral damage. You're concerned about the next election, your name. You're not concerned about the American people who will be injured by this. You're not concerned about the backlash that will come towards the police department, the good police. I'm not anti-police. There are great police officers out there, people who are truly public servants, who are not in it for a buck or name or anything like. They're in it to serve the American people, the oath that they took. But now you have increased the numbers of people who hate police by your escalation of the incident. Basically, all the protesters wanted was for the government to take heed to the human rights violations perpetrated by the bad cops, the criminal justice system, prosecutors who continue to let them get off. They stand a less than 1% chance of being convicted if they murder an unarmed citizen in this country. That's almost saying that almost every murder by a police officer is justified. And this is not something recent. This has been going on for a long period of time. So they commit the murder. They know that they'll get a couple of weeks off work, a desk job for a couple of weeks, and they get to go home to their families, and life is normal for them. Do some research and Google. Google the number of officers that have been convicted of killing an unarmed American citizen. Do some research, and you'll find that it's almost impossible for a police officer to be convicted, even by a jury of 12 of his peers, if it goes that far, they're still given the benefit of doubt. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. I'm not saying convict them all. I'm saying let's have a fair and honest trial by 12 of your Americans, fellow American citizens, that you said that you took the oath. I'm sorry, to serve and protect. Let's talk about those officers who have done things illegally wrong, have been covered up by their fellow officers, and nothing's been done. And if they do get convicted, it's 3 years, 4 years for murder. You know, and in the end, the United States citizen ends up paying for their misdeeds through the taxes, the bills for the trial, that sort of thing. So all this idiot in the White House needs to do is to develop. Here's my solution: develop a special team of prosecutors who will review the last 20 murders or the last 20 shootings by police officers of unarmed citizens that have led to uh, uh, the demise of the citizen, and have them review those cases for human rights violations. Give them the autonomy to punish them to the full extent of the law. With every case being reviewed by the Supreme Court, and in giving the president the right to give his final approval to prosecute. You want to talk about his approval numbers going through the roof? He would truly be the law and order president, not the bully in chief who uses the military to violate the oath they took to preserve the Constitution. You do not escalate violence against your own citizens. Again, to govern means to manage, not to dominate. Just as the example I gave earlier about the home burning in the neighborhood and the fire department showing up and bombing every house on the block, it only escalates the situation. We send in the military, the police, who are the good ones, will start leaving the profession because a number of people who will start to hate them because of this president's refusal to try to find a solution other than escalating violence will lead to a lot of officers being killed in the line of duty, a lot of officers being hated on, the whole 9 yards. He needs to use his executive powers not to escalate, but he needs to use his executive powers to call a truce, a peace, and say, this is what I am putting into effect as of today, to try to restore peace to the land. It's the only way we're going to solve this thing. It's the only way we're going to solve it. It's not going to be solved by escalation of violence, because as it's being televised, as it's being recorded by hundreds of people with cell phones, people will see the inhumanity. They will see the human rights violations, and it will turn everybody against the police. And that we don't need. That we truly don't need. Now, his mishandling of coronavirus, COVID-19, continues to fumble, drop the ball, pass the buck. But here's some questions. Here's some questions that need to be asked. Number one, Why are we still importing products from China and Italy? Number two, why is there only one major manufacturer of the swab sticks used to test for COVID-19? Hmm? Why are blacks and Native Americans more susceptible to catch COVID-19 and die from COVID-19 than any other nationality? And then the last question. The last question is this. And then I'll have a statement, pull this back. And this is mostly to my pro-Republican, pro-Donald Trump fans. When you drive your vehicle, you are always watching for the other guy. In other words, when you're on the road, you're not in a position of trusting every driver that goes by or every car that you see. So we're always watching for the other guy. But for COVID-19, you throw all your trust out the window. Trust a total stranger who has repeatedly lied to you and the American public since he's been in office, actually even before he got in office. But you want to stand with your Republican president, the liar. But if I stood on here, recorded the video, and lied to you, you would call me all kind of names, never get back on and watch another video of mine or anything like that. But this president has lied repeatedly, and you still support him. If your kid lied to you, you throw him on the bed and spank him. But this president, you trust with your family, your life, your well-being. Seriously, seriously. And you say, well, those Democrats this and those Democrats that. Let me put it to you this way. Democrat and Republican basically means let's separate the American people so that we can defeat them. That's what all the titles and topics and all that stuff, that's what all of that's about. Black American, white American. Matter of fact, don't even say white American, they just say white. Mexican, Latin American, Asian. All that does is separate the people. We are Americans. When the soldiers are overseas in battle and the person next to them, no matter what color they are Americans. They are on the same team. But not us, not back home. Kind of reminds me of prison. You go to prison, it's all separated like that. It's wrong, man. It's wrong. Trust no one, not even your government. Trust no one, not even your government. I was going to save this for my next video, but I'm going to throw this out. I came up with about 28 solutions that we can take in this country that will improve this country immensely. But it means we have to come across lines of Democrat, Republican, black, white, and unite. Because Rome, second greatest country this world has ever known, was defeated from within by division. I'll save that second topic, government, for the next video. Have a great day. God bless you.